Hello everyone, good morning. So let's start now. I welcome to SLWC Madhukar. So today we will learn about the LWC life cycle book. So how life cycle work in the LWC. So we will learn all the one by one. Okay. So basically, what is the LWC life cycle? Okay. So life cycle hook is a callback method trigger at a specific phase of the component instance life cycle. तो बेसिकली आप कह सकते हो whenever LWC component insert in the DOM or any operation or any trigger specific yeah, occur in the browser or component, so then life cycle will start to work on it. So every life cycle has a specific phase basically. Okay. So let's learn how many life cycle in the LWC. Then we will discuss one by one. Okay. So life cycle hooks, there are six life cycle hooks basically. Uh, First one, constructor, connected callback, render callback, render, disconnected callback, and then error callback. तो constructor आपने I think if anyone learn about the Java or any oops concept, so you know about the basically what is a constructor. So can anyone just give any um, overview about what is a constructor basically? Any language.
So constructor is the calling of the parent, that is a lightning element component, I think.
Yes, we can like uh,
Actually, it's the initial stage constructor to upload the documents like DOM models.
yes. Okay. Okay. Any other anyone or okay. So basically constructor everyone give the some small answer, but yeah, it's correct. Constructor basically we can call our basically class so that fire when the component is set in the uh, created in the DOM basically. Okay, when our component load on the DOM, then that time it will be run constructor. It means your constructor run your when your component created in the DOM basically. So it means first it will be done your constructor. If you use these are the life cycle in the DOM in the LWC, then constructor will be done first time basically first for priority. So you can attribute this the host element in any other life cycle hook also. Okay. So in the constructor must be use super keyword. Okay. When you are using the super keyword, it means you are using the constructor. So this establish the correct prototype, change, and value. So basically, this is always using the this keyword basically. Okay, before touching anything. So and so LWC always, recommends so don't use a return statement inside the constructor body unless it is the simply return, like a return or return this. So don't use document.write or document.open methods. Okay, and don't instruct the element attribute and children because they don't exist. Okay, and don't inspect the element public property because they are set after the component is created. So we, okay, so these are the operation you don't do in a constructor because your component is creating now just when, but these are operation you can learn do after the component when your components created on the top, basically. Okay. So let's see one basically example also here. Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay, so I hope everyone see my screen. Okay, so this is my basically one component. Okay, so uh, let me do this code is just comment here. Okay, this is child component. So let me do the any other component name. Basically LWC component, this one. Okay, so this is one component. Okay, and this component we are using our child component something. So let me create one fresh component, or you can also use these are the same component. Okay, so here I'm also using my child component. So let me comment these are because we will use the later. Okay, if required. Okay, so let's go in the basically our JS. Okay, now we have like fresh component. Okay, so what we should do? So before using the constructor, so just use the constructor. Basically, if you click here, this one constructor. Okay, then same like a method. Okay, just do the method like, and before using this, you need to call the super. Okay, this keyword. Super keyword is mandatory in the constructor, basically. Okay, so how we can check constructor is called? So let me do the console here, basically console.log. Then we can print any message, so we can understand constructor called or not. Okay, so let's copy and just call constructor called. Okay. Basically, then let's deploy this component. Okay, component deploy. Let's go on the salesforce and check here, and it's training. This is not our component. Okay, this is our component. Okay, so if you click this component and just click on the console here, if you check here, so your constructor called, basically. Okay, when your component insert on a DOM, let me refresh, then you understand. Check here, your constructor called, basically. Okay, then let's go with the next part. Then we can understand one by one, basically. Okay. Okay, let me go to the another part. So another is the connected callback. Okay, so let's uh, basically constructor call when the component is created. This hook flow from parent to child. Okay, parent to child means first it will be called the parent, then it will be called the child, which means that it fire in the parent first. You can't access child element because they don't exist at. Properties are not passed at either. The properties are assigned to the component after construction, add before or the connected callback hooks. It means if you using the child component and parent component, then it will be call your first. So let's do this thing on the our LWC component. So here we have already created one component. If you check here, this is the child component. Previous training we already created these are, and we know about how we can create and how we can call the child component in the our another component. Okay, so this is my child component basically. Okay, so let me call this child component here, or let me paste here. So this is my child component. Okay, so let me do child component also. Let me add here copy control this. Okay, let me do one thing. I also call here constructor. Okay, then super, then console dot log. Then you type here child constructor called. Okay, so here child constructor, and if you go on the parent, so here just mention the parent constructor. So then we can differentiate.
In JavaScript, we need to call parent constructor.
Yes. No. Means it's for basically a flow in the component. Basically the flow parent to child.
Yeah, got it. But just I'm asking, you're calling parent into JavaScript and then you're calling child into HTML. So that's
No,
thing
no,
I'm asking.
no. Basically, if you're creating any component LWC, so we need to be calling HTML lah, because we are
Yeah.
see the UI.
Yes.
So okay, but actually we have done in the previous session. Okay, this is the fourth session on LWC.
Okay.
Basically, okay. So let's go here and just take the request. Okay, if you see here, let me check also. This is not deployed. Let's save it and deploy it. So in and Lightning, we something sometimes not get load properly because it's due to the cache. Okay, so check here. Parent constructor called first, then child constructor called. Okay, so every time when we are calling any constructor, so the flow is parent to child. First call is the parent, then child. Okay, so let's go in the next part. Connected callback. Okay,
Just one question: why we are calling the super in the child?
okay, when we are calling any constructor, okay, so it means it's called the parent, this component basically. So that's why you use the super. So without super we can't any constructor. If you learn about the Java or any oops language, so that basically when you are using any constructor, that need to be used the super keyword. It means it's represent to parent basically. Okay, so without super keyword you can't use the constructor basically. If you remove the super, so then it will be didn't understand this is constructor or not. So that's why we are using the super keyword. Okay, so the connected callback, when the element is inserted into the document, this hook flow from parent to child. Okay, so you can't access child element because they don't exist at. Okay, use connected callback to interact with the component environment, establish communication with the current document or container to the coordinate. Basically. Okay, and perform initialization tasks such as the fetch data, setup cache or listen or element, subscriber and unsubscriber for message channel. Okay, and the connected callback hook is involved with the initial properties passed to the component. If a component derive is internal state basically. Okay, and if component derive its internal state from the property, it's better to write the logic in the setter then in connected callback. For example code, so we will see the example how we can calling that connected callback basically. And basically connected callback we are using for fetching the data. Yeah, we are setting any variable value in the connected callback when our DOM is inserted and showing in the basically screen. Okay, so let me uh, go to the all. Okay, so we have this one done. Okay, let's check the our connected callback, how we can call the connected callback. If you check here, we have called first the constructor. Let's call the connected callback. So this is the connected callback basically. Okay, so let's also the copy this. Okay, and call here parent connected callback. Okay, and just deploy this and copy this code same and go to the child and also paste this code here and just mention here child connected callback. Okay, just deploy this. Okay, our component both are deployed. Let's refresh this component. If you see, so parent constructor called first, then parent connected callback called, then child constructor called, then child connected callback called. Okay, so if you are using the multiple component, a parent to child to parent, so every constructor called first, or if any parent, if any child, any other child. So every constructor called first, then after that it will be called the connected callback basically. Okay. So anyone have any doubt or any question? Okay. So let's go the next hook basically. So next hook our
Madhukar, what is subscribe and unsubscribe from message channel?
yeah of subscriber basically when you are using any message channel. Okay, in a LWC we have the message channel one API, but you can't say API, this is the external functionality in the LWC you can import. Then after that if you are sending any message to another component, like for example you are using the multiple component without basically connected any component like parent to child. So in that scenario, we are using the basically message channel. So in message channel, when we are sending any message to any component, then that time we are subscribe. Okay. And when we are receive that message, then we can unsubscribe. Just for example, if you are using any, news blog or any new subscribe. Okay, for example, you are using you want daily basis the e-news. Okay, so what you should do, you just go on the website and type your email and just subscribe it. Means whatever the basically subscriber in that system, so everyone can get that PDF for reading the news. When you but in the email also, if you see the one button for the unsubscribe this, so when you click on the unsubscribe, it means then after that you will not get any uh, for further news or any information related to that.
Like YouTube notifications like that.
No, YouTube not. You can say like basically any chat board type something. One means basically one message to send another someone, like, so that was the message channel. This is the large part of okay amount of discussion. So we will cover the next session one by one everything. Okay. So, but if you want, so you can learn about that the message channel. This is the one message channel topic in the LWC. So then you can learn about that more, how subscribe and unsubscribe work in it. And if you know about the pop sub also, it is the same thing working with subscribe and unsubscribe. Okay. So then our next life cycle would be the render callback. Okay. So
Hi Ashish, can you go once in code?
yeah.
Yeah, show me.
Okay. Which one? Connected callback.
Yeah, in connected callback. Actually, I haven't doubt actually. Go
Okay.
in code. Oh yeah. So actually, we are using in parent component like constructor and then connected callback.
Right. This is the
So same thing we are using in child component. Show him in child component.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how can we differentiate that? Is this parent and or this is child component? So how can we differentiate this? So
Okay.
same thing. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, this is the parent component. Okay. Means
Okay.
when
Yes.
another component you will call within that component. Basically, a this component I have called in this component. So it
Oh,
means this is the parent component and this one the child component.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me go another. So our next life cycle would basically render callback. So called after every render of the component. This life cycle hook is specific to just lightning wave component. It is from the HTML custom element specification. This hook flow from child to parent. Okay. And a component is rendered when the value of the property changes and that property is used either directly into a component templates or indirectly in the getter of the property that is used in the template basically. Okay. So this flow basically first child render callback called, then after that it will be called the parent render callback. Okay. So let's go in the code, then we will check how it's working. Okay. So this is our parent. So let me do one thing here. Just render callback. Okay. This is the method, and just do the thing. Okay. Let the parent render callback. Copy and paste. Okay. Just copy this one. Let me deploy this and go to child and also just paste. So render callback basically when you want, when any changes on our DOM, anything happen in the DOM, then we want the our something perform any logic on that. So then that time you can use basically uh, render callback. So let's check how flow is working here for render callback. If you check here, so first our constructor called, then parent constructor called, then child constructor, then child connected callback. After that, check here, child render callback called, then parent render callback called. Okay, so let me do one thing. This is some happen. This is not okay. So when you are using something, doing any basically activity in this, that time also it will be change the data. For example, if you are using any list, then you have change some data in the component, then it's called that your render callback. So if you are using some any third party, basically, so that time also it will be run. Okay, if any change in the DOM, then it will be happen basically. Okay, so let's go our next life cycle hook basically.
Ashish, can we say this like we use render when we are moving out of the DOM?
I didn't understand actually.
I mean, if I want to take my component out of the DOM, during that time, do we use this render?
No. Yeah, that one also when you remove that DOM, then it will be also called. But for that we have another life cycle hook like disconnected callback basically.
Okay, when we move out of the DOM, we use
DOM,
disconnect, not the render.
right. So for render callback, and also if you are using something wire method, and that time you also can use that wire. Means in wire method basically we have the different data like okay. So okay, and in the render callback, so we can use the multiple like some for each loop element created. So you can that or the means slot we can use in the render callback. Okay, so this is the render basically. Okay, render also is the most important in the LWC life cycle. Okay, so call this method to update the UI. Okay, it may be called before or after connected call. Okay, it's rare to call render in a component. The main use case is to conditionally render a template, define business logic to device, which as a template HTML live to use the method must return a valid HTML template. Okay. So, for example, imagine that you have component. Basically, you have created two or three component. Okay, and you want to one component so at a one time, and when you are inserting any another component, then it will be called the second time basically. Okay, so how we can use that component, and then we can see in the our code. Okay, so and in this also we check how we can create the multiple template basically same LWC component. Okay, so let me show in the code. So this is, for example, this is our component. Okay, so can we create the multiple HTML template? Okay, so yes, we can create the multiple HTML template in the here. Okay, so what you should do, just click on the new file. Okay, just type something parent template. Okay, dot html. Okay, just enter. So if you check here, our component is created. Okay, but in template we need this start and end. So our any template should be start this basically. Okay. After this HTML template tag, you can do anything. Okay. Now I want to this component show first time. Then after that it will be show the of my this one component. So how we can do this? Let me write here one div. Okay. Then write any message. Hi, I'm render template. Okay. Then also you can say hello. Okay. So we have two template now. So just deploy this template here. So now what we should do, just go in this component. So when we are using the component, okay, so we need to import our component in the that HTML in our main component, okay, in JS basically. So what should do, just import, okay, give any name, template parent something name, parent, okay, then space from, okay, then single quote, then dot, after that this slash, after that your template name basically, okay, this name. So what you should do, you can like just right click and rename here, uh, click on the rename component, okay, it's not showing here, it's not showing. Okay, so let's type the name basically. So the component name is the parent, okay, then template, TMPLAT, okay, this is the our component name, okay, and dot HTML, okay. So we have import our this component. So now what we should do here basically, so let's create one here variable basically, okay, render, you can give the any name here, render uh, template equal to true, okay, basically. So we have given the render call here basically true, okay, means now where we can use, here we can use the our render call, okay. So let's create here, we have one button here, okay, for this one, like uh, this one we have one button, okay, let's do this button and just copy this button and let's go on the top here. Let me give the my button name something, show component, show component, okay, and give your here method name, handle template, okay, then copy this your method name and go to HTML and just paste here, okay. Okay, so now we have given our component name here basically, okay. Anyone have any question, any doubt now? Okay.
Do we use this render method only for this UI displaying or any other
Yes.
use?
No, only but just the UI display. We changed our UI basically to show the one template to another template if we are using the multiple template.
Okay, we don't have any other use cases like we can use this for the other use cases.
No, basically for you using the UI chain.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let's do here. So here our method name. Okay. But first time it will be show our first component. Okay. Let's do our component when you are using that component. Okay. Okay. So this is our handle method name in the whatever we have created in the HTML. Okay. And this is our JavaScript method. Okay. So first time we are showing our desktop. So what we should do, we can check our this the render. If it is true, then we can change and we can show, or we can do one thing here directly without this method. Okay. In this method, we are doing something. Okay, this is true. Okay, so we can do one thing here. Just okay. Uh, Basically, we are calling this any variable. We are calling with this method. Okay. So then equal to we can do like false. Basically, okay. This is our variable. Let's type here render. Now this is our sorry, render method. Okay. In this render method, we need to be write our component name basically. Okay. So here, then we need to be write return. Okay. Then our component first. Basically, this is our component. This dot. So first component our the LWC component. Okay. So let's click on this basically. This dot LWC component. Okay. LWC component. Then if not this one, then after that it will show the our another component. Basically, this is the variable name. This one. Okay. It means if this is the true, then it will be return our this component. Okay. Proceed. Basically this component. Okay. Otherwise, we can return our this component LWC component. Okay. LWC component. This one. Okay. So this is the method. This is the method. Okay. We can pass true or false here. Okay. Basically. So on the basis of this, we can show our components here. Basically. So let's check here, and Here we did not create any basically component method name. Okay, so we can do here, we can create one uh, this one basically button name. So when we create here, then after that also we will go the another component. Okay, so same component method name I'm giving here also. Okay, so this one. So if you are using the same variable name, so what you should do, you can do the same method name here, like a variable name. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, just pass not and this. It means either is the true, either is the false. Okay, let's go now deploy and let's check how it's render our UI basically. So component is the basically a small name LWC component. So this component I did not import here. Okay, let me import first my component here also. That HTML basically. Okay, so this is the my HTML component. This one. And let me put the name here also. Okay. Now let's deploy and check. Just refresh here. Okay, now it's showing the first component, show component. Okay, this high render callback help. Second, when you click on this, then it will show this component. It means our rendering the that UI. When you click on here, then it will call this component. When you click this, anyone have any confusion? So please ask. Maybe this is the many things here, right? Okay, so I hope everyone understand. So let's go on the another hour. This is the basically most important hook. So that's why it's taking time for showing the demo. So this is our disconnected callback. Okay, called when the component is removed from a card, basically document. This hook flow from parent to child. Okay, use disconnected callback to clean up work done in the connected callback, like purging the caches or remove the element listener basically. Okay, so disconnected callback, how we can go and check in the basically our DOM. Let's check the LWC. Okay, so this is the basically our component. So let's do and check how we can do this the disconnected callback. Okay, so now let me comment this. Okay, and this is our component, and here we are calling our child component here, right? Let me remove this button. Okay, so now our child component is showing here. Okay, so let's call the child component here, and our the disconnected callback. Okay, then child disconnected callback. Okay, just do this deploy, and let's go on the parent. Okay, so in the parent we have created one this one, right? True. Let's do one thing. When we click any this basically our right, so we can check our component is removed disconnected or not. So go to HTML here and the LWC we can use if condition like template if and here. Okay, just and curly braces within this your variable name basically. Okay, so this is your component. You have do the within the one condition. So let's deploy this component. Now just go to the here. Okay, here we have did not create the. So let's call this basically. Here we have our this one. Okay. So in method we can call our that condition. Okay. Let's do this condition in the this method. Comment this one and insert this one. Okay. Let the inspect. Then we can check. So now our child component showing. So let's click on the increase. See here, child disconnected callback called. Then after that, parent render callback called. Okay, it means it's occurring something. So when you insert in any DOM, any disconnecting any the component, then render callback also called basically. So make sure when you are doing when you want something when child component remove from the DOM, and if you want to something logic on the disconnected callback, or you can also write your that logic in the render callback basically. Okay. So let's do our the next.
Ashish, one query. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
I got disconnected due to my Wi-Fi issue. Can you show the screen back, like when the disconnected got called back?
Okay.
So on how did it loaded? How did it loaded the disconnected callback?
No, actually, this disconnected callback basically when load, I am calling the child component here. Okay. So when this variable true, then child component will render on the UI, right?
Yeah,
When,
correct.
correct. When I this variable false, then it means this child component will not show. It means this is disconnect from the DOM now.
Okay. Okay. Can you show me that on the UI once? Like just run it, and I just want to know, like, is it we are calling that explicitly or by clicking on any of the button, or it will
No.
load?
We need to perform any event now. That time it will be called,
correct.
right?
That-
So
That's
that
what.
time, yeah. But when you are using the multiple component, then we need to some hide some. So that time we are want to perform the logic. That time you can use the disconnected callback basically.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, let's go the another. So this is the our disconnected callback. Another one is the error callback. This is the last basically. Last cycle. Okay, called when a descendant component throw an error. Basically, this we are using when our component throwing any error basically in DOM is something related to any HTML, some any JavaScript error showing. So that type of error we need to be handled or we need to be call our uh, any perform any that basically any logic on the that this life cycle, so we can call error callback basically. Okay, so how you can show or how we can check this the error callback is calling or not. Okay, so we can use that component basically. Okay, so for example, let me do one thing. Okay, let's call that one any view basically. Okay, so let me go in the component. So for example, this is the our main component. Okay, and here I want this is our, let me create one another uh, lightning card here. Okay, let's copy this. Okay, so here we can write something related to error callback. Okay, now we can do something. Here I have written this. Okay, this is the our deep dive. Okay, in deep dive I'm using something p tag basically to show some message like, so let me do some message. Hi, I am error. Okay, basically. Okay, and now here we can show the another things like the condition, another condition basically. Another error. Okay, so in this error method handling, okay, so we are using also the something related to basically you can say basically we are using also try and catch. Okay, when we are calling any apex method from LWC to LWC to any apex method, so that time we are also handle our error in the try and catch. Okay, so we can do here one thing. Here we can uh, just write the template. Okay, so now LWC we have one another things. This is the main basically LWC column. If this is the new thing in the LWC. Okay, for making the any condition. So we can, I'm creating this variable like this. Okay, so let's close this condition here and again do the same condition for another. We have, if we are writing any multiple conditions, so we can write here LWC column till sheet basically. Okay. So this variable, let's create one error variable in our JS. Okay, here we can call this variable. Then we can use our error callback. Okay. So in error callback, we need to be specify two variable. First error, then another one for step. Okay. So let's do this error here. This now deploy. So anyone can tell me then it will be run or not? Means it will be run now or it will be not run once we not execute this method. If you see here, so our error callback not run, executed. Why? Basically, no any error occur that time, right? So how you can get any error? Let me do something for okay. Some here let me type for how you can generate the error here. Let me connect it for that. Then do some 1 2 1. See here we are using component. So error call basically handling error, and here we can create the HTML, and how we can generate the error basically. Let's do one thing. This one condition we are doing. Okay. Yeah, actually network issue. That's why I love. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so what we can do basically, for example, this is the error basically. Okay, and when the variable is data is coming the uh, null or something, so that time is getting something error. So what I can do uh, without this condition, okay, if you're writing something here, something div and this, and let me do this variable here like. So that time it will be some error like, let's check. Otherwise, we will discuss next session for handling the error and those system in the of using the apex method in a following method. So here, let's check. No, it's not following here. So okay, so here basically we have called previously one apex methods. I think. Let me check that method we can call or we can use here in the child. Okay, in child we have called this one method, right? Apex method basically. And in this method we have given this one. So we can do this. Okay, and this is the data basically. Okay, and this data we have called like this here, but we have used the here if condition when data is coming. So let's do comment this section. Okay, and error callback section. Let me use in the this child section. Okay, and here we can call our basically this console dot log. Okay, let's check it will be it's working or not. Basically, when error is coming, that time it will be done. Otherwise, it will not run. Okay, so no any error coming, but here showing if you check here the error coming the undefined basically, and here error is undefined. So what error coming basically? Okay, so here when data is coming in this data, but when you because first time your HTML will run, right? When HTML run, that time this data is coming the blank. Okay, after that it will be done your JavaScript. When JavaScript run, then it will become the data here. So your HTML again rendered with that data. So that's why what I have done, just I have do this thing. If condition, I remove this if condition, and after that I'm using directly this for each loop condition in data. Means first time data it will become the null or blank. So that's why getting down some error, and that's why is born in the error callback. When I on this if condition, then it will be not run my error callback condition. This one. Yes. Anyone have any question? Okay. Otherwise, we will see you in next weekend with
Yeah,
next
actually, I have a question. Can you differentiate between render and re-render?
render and re-render. Basically, both are the different. Okay, re-render means I have shown when the our DOM basically our when our child component removed from the DOM. So that time it will be run also re-render callback. Okay, but render we are change our UI only for UI purpose. We have created the multiple HTML and we want show first HTML now and another HTML for any specific condition on the basis of logic. So
Oh,
that time we can use the render.
oh.
Okay. Okay, everyone. So thanks for joining, and let's meet next weekend with next session. Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ashish.